Back on the Exit 52 podcast, back again on a Thursday night, Friday morning, as you're listening to this, November 10th, 2023. My name is Jake Louque, and I'm joined by Spencer Nathaniel Schultz. How are we doing, sir? It looks like you were having yourself a fun little Thursday afternoon there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So the first order of Make the Bank Great Again sweatshirts has arrived. I got one right here. Have one for you too, Jakey, of course. And I'll throw it up for the YouTube. I'll put it on right now. I'll do an RDT, except I'm going to get dressed instead of getting undressed, as what Eric usually likes to do. So those came in. I didn't have a terribly busy work day. I did some yoga this morning. Shout out to my girl Nicole Outmark at Merritt Ford Ave. My buddies.
You're cheating on Adrian. What are we doing?
Adrian. So had a nice yoga and a nice sauna sesh after. I had a pretty light work day, then came back and I had this shipment here and they turned out, I mean, honestly, I don't know where I get them from. I had never gotten any sweatshirts before. This is the first time I've even gotten something of my own that I've made. And they turned out way better than I thought. They're screen print and like them a lot. So go check those out. I will keep taking orders on the early November batch through the, let's say, Saturday. So if you get your order in by Saturday, those should process on Sunday, Monday, and all those will go out. So those of you who are listening, if you placed an order then you'll get them there. So I do have quite a few still in supply. I'm going to re-up again as well. There will be some T-shirts of it given out with the Settleman next Thursday. We have 10 T-shirts for 10 lucky Brazen Ravens fans at that tailgate as well. There's still some tickets there. You can find that on Jack's Twitter, the Punchline Twitter, my Twitter, Twitter, all that good stuff. So I did have a nice little day. I had exactly one Ed Reed, really even called GOAT IPAs. You can see here, pretty good. I mean, it's a classic IPA, tastes like a tin can in a good way. And yeah, so then I just chilled for a bit, got some more work done. Had a nice little din-din just now. Shout out to the franchise. Made a nice braised rib, apple cider braised rib, and some whipped sage brown butter mashed potatoes. And yeah, chilling, ready for 2 home games in 4 days coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be something. 2 divisional games as well. I will be in town for the Sunday one. I will be participating in the instant analysis. I won't be attending. Got a early-ass flight out on Monday, so not going to be in town for the Thursday night game, unfortunately. That'll be my my last night down in Mexico for a little work off-site type deal. So yeah, going to be out of the picture for what is being dubbed Thanksgiving. I mean, what a day. A little double entendre there. I think they're, obviously that applies to the stadium name, which of course you're doing all sorts of the Lord's work in terms of bringing back the atmosphere that we've come to know and love. And then of course with our good friend, Brian Thanks Black, who is indisposed currently. He is, shout out to the Pandas playing in some sort of a playoff game or something, some sort of kickball volo, douchebag situation. And shout out to them. And I think Taylor's participating in that as well. So that's where we're at.
Love it. Thanksgiving. We'll have some guests on, all that good stuff too. So we're going full throttle. We're going to make this a fun Thanksgiving, a fun homestand, a fun November and December and January, and hopefully February as we follow and cover this Ravens team that stands at 7-2 as the Cleveland Brownies come to Townie. 1 p.m. kickoff there. The Ravens, if I'm not mistaken, are 6-point favorites last time I checked. That 1 o'clock kickoff, I believe the weather's looking okay. Jake, correct me if I'm wrong there. I think the weather looks decent. I know it's supposed to rain tomorrow. The Ravens are ultimately 6.5-point favorites on FanDuel right now, minus 290. The over-under, the total, is 38.5. So Vegas thinks the Ravens win by about a touchdown, and that would make it, a 22-16 game, something along those lines, 21-15 game, something right around there. So Vegas thinks the Ravens score in the low 20s and the Browns score in the teens. And we do predictions at the end, but I think that's pretty close to what it might be. So excited. This is, to me, the Deshaun Watson game, the Cleveland Browns Deshaun Watson game. You paid him $230 million, the largest fully guaranteed contract in NFL history. The Browns are standing at 5-3 and 6-3 to the Cleveland Browns. I believe gives them, according to Ben Baldwin's model and on NFL Fast R and all that stuff, a 68% chance of making the playoffs, and it drops them down to a 39% chance of making the playoffs if they lose. This is why they paid him all that money. Deshaun Watson has to win this game, or else they find themselves in the slump, the slodge, the pig pen, the sty, and fighting against teams like the Texans and all that good stuff. 6-3 would be fantastic for them. So excited to see this one. I think the Browns, this is probably the biggest game for the Browns in, I don't know, 18, 20, 25 games, something like that. So we got a little doozy on our hands, I think.
Yeah, no, with the yeah, great time to have a quarterback who's quiet quitting, effectively re-entering the lineup. And yeah, some weird stuff has been going on there. We've been tracking it, but yeah, it all kind of, for them at least, it kind of all comes down to this. The Ravens definitely have a little bit more of a cushion as far as the divisional race goes in the playoffs and everything. But yeah, it feels like do or die time for them. And I know they have a good record along with all the AFC North, at least 2 games clear of 500, I think right now. I think the other teams are all 5-3. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, weather, you mentioned it, looks like 48 and cloudy is what I saw, but no rain. That feels like Big Ten football weather migrating its way out to the east here at long last as November is rolling around here into the land of pleasant living.
You know, it's really funny you say that, because my one of my things I wrote down is that the Browns are a Big Ten football team.
Yeah, that's just what I was leading into. Like, that's kind of what this feels like. The Ravens obviously have shown a lot more on offense, especially in recent weeks, than the Browns have been able to string together. But that defense is still good. They're not quite on that historic kind of torrid pace that they were on, and we'll certainly get into it all. But yeah, I think this will be a competitive game. We will get into predictions, but as high as the Ravens have flown the last 2-3 weeks, there's certainly talent on this Browns roster to give them a little bit of a tough going here on Sunday, especially given that it's a division game and it's what our guy Dan Hansis would call a wounded animal game. They're a wounded duck, and they're trying to get back in the air before things go really catastrophic for them. So
certainly looks like I had 58 degrees, winds 5 to 8 miles an hour, gusts up to 17, so a little bit of a wind factor there. And you mentioned it, going through the injury report here, I guess to do some housekeeping of sorts. The Ravens had a couple appearances. I actually just looked at the wrong one. I had Melissa Kim's from yesterday. Believe we had Rashad Bateman appear with a limited participation due to a back. Marlon Humphrey appears with what Jeff Zrebeck described as jogging off to the locker room early with a hamstring. Keaton Mitchell was limited with a hamstring. Marcus Williams, a full participant. Michael Pierce has now missed 2 days of practice with an illness. I think he's probably fine. He was out at practice today. And I believe Jalen Armour-Davis also missed practice, and there might be someone else I'm forgetting. I'm not sure, but I think that was about all of the notable injuries. I'm trying to go find the Browns report. They did have a laundry list on Wednesday, though. So curious to see. Odell Beckham did get removed from that injury. He just had rest day. Wednesday is for rest. So curious to see how that all ends up playing out. Got it right here finally. So we see David Bell, David Bell was a DNP. Marquise Goodwin was a DNP. DeJuan Jones, the kind of star-ish, I'll say star, rookie right tackle that came in when Jack Conklin went down, who was supposed to switch to left tackle because Jedrick Wills is on the injured reserve, has missed 2 days of practice with a knee/shoulder, that big fella. Greg Newsome, the corner, DNP then limited. David Njoku, DNP then limited. Pierre Strong, DNP then limited. Alex Wright, limited. And Amari Cooper, a DNP then limited. As Tupac grabs my microphone, completely tangles himself inside of it, as bad as humanly possible. Pretty much as bad as he could have done. Thank you so much, Tutu. So with that, a pretty long list there. And the Browns will be, like I said, without Jedrick Wills and maybe without DeJuan Jones. And that is not a fun thought facing a Baltimore Ravens pass rush that has killed it so far this season.
Yeah, and I guess we can start their offense versus the Ravens defense. And you mentioned it. That's really the story for me outside of Watson trying to put his career back on the rails here before the Browns potentially have an exceptionally tough decision to make with him, like Chris Davis levels of tough. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great when you're going up against a defense with Kyle Van Noy playing like, it's 3 years ago, with Jadeveon Clowney playing like it's 2015, with all these guys, Justin Matabike, these guys just huffing smelling salts, just jacked to the tits, absolutely getting after it the last couple of weeks. not the recipe you want going up against a defense like that. So first thoughts on this this Browns offense that has looked okay at times, but in recent weeks it's been kind of tough with Watson out of the lineup, and now they're trying to integrate him back in. What's the initial impression of Mike Macdonald with his stock probably as high as it's been since coming into the NFL as a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, it's tough. And usually we go read I've been reading the analytics off of rbsdm.com. It's tough though, because like you said, Deshaun Watson's missed time. So when you go look at their season, it's kind of, I'd say null and void, but they're behind the 8 ball. And when we think back to those Ravens games around week 3, 4, 5, 6, that range where they were missing guys are in and out of the lineup. Like you mentioned, it's tough. They're behind the process. They're behind the progress that they would have liked to make. When I go watch them on tape, I tweeted it out. I get so bored. I stop watching. I can't watch. It's the same thing.
You could watch a football, like any football game.
I truly can. When I was at SIS, I would do Navy, Army, and it would just be 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards. And you're like, oh, sick football. It's like, when you're watching all 22 in Navy, Army, the guys are all like 260. It's kind of tough. It was nice because those games would end quickly because time of possession was so much on each drive. Anyway, it's tough. It's not exciting. It's basically really plain quick game on spot routes, hitches, slants, in breakers, all those kinds of things. Watson has been holding the ball a shitload. He runs around, flips the ball to a running back, runs around, flips the ball to a tight end. Then they'll airmail something to Amari Cooper. Him and Amari Cooper do have a really nice rapport. I do like Amari Cooper as a DFS option this week. I think they will generate 80-plus yards, 5 catches, 80 yards, maybe a touchdown, something like that. He has a nice connection with him. We saw a really nice pocket for Watson. The Cardinals weren't really blitzing him, and their pass rushers, when you don't give them much help or creativity, couldn't really get home. Speaking of quiet quitting, it was like they were starting Clayton Tune first week of his first ever start in the NFL and just turning the ball over, couldn't do anything effectively, looked like a mid-round rookie in his first start coming halfway through the middle of the year. And yeah, it was just like boring to watch. Cooper will run some in-breaking deep post kind of stuff, some bang post stuff. And I think Watson is getting accurate again. That shoulder injury does make things convoluted, but did see some nice accuracy ultimately. He tends to, kind of like Lamar, tends to, I think, miss long and high a lot as opposed to like low and away and things like that. So a couple opportunities Cardinals could have maybe got their hands on a football, would have been tough, but I don't know. I'm just bored by their offense. They are creative. Like we've covered this team many times. If you've been following this podcast, Jake and I, for a while, they have a nice screen game. It's misdirection. They'll get creative. They'll bring some offensive linemen in the backfield. They'll do double reverses and double screens and throwbacks and all that kind of stuff. It just feels cheap, though. It's getting to the point where they're relying on it so much that it's just not like, I don't know. I've watched so much of it over the last couple of years with Stefanski that it's like, all right, here's a double. Okay. It's not anything new. It's like old trick plays, kind of, is what it looked like last week. And maybe they have some wrinkles and more fun stuff for the Ravens. That would make it exciting for sure. But I think this game on that side of the football is determined by, can the Ravens take down Deshaun Watson in the backfield? He is still strong. He is still fast. He is still slippery. He does do a great job kind of creating a fast break. We've been talking a lot about basketball and football this year, but he creates a little fast break when he boots. Well, I guess when he rolls out to escape pressure, he will create conflict, kind of like an option, like a speed option. He'll go straight up field and a running back will start to drift, kind of like they're running a little 3-man weave or a little fast break. And he'll just flip the ball out. Or if you commit to the back, that it's literally just a fast break in basketball. So if he can keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that, they can get in the red zone and get creative. Maybe they can score 3 touchdowns, but I just don't think they will. Like I said, I agree with Vegas. I think this will be a 17, 18-point effort. And Jake, what I would do on that is take that 0 on the left-hand side of the screen. I like to slide that to 10. And
so then click people listening on the pod here, we've got RBSDM pulled up, what you mentioned. Great resource, obviously. I think Ben Baldwin is involved with this, right?
Yes, this is his baby, and it is lovely and fantastic. For as annoying as he can be on social media, this is incredible. It brings you EPA per drop back, EPA per rush, success rate, all that kind of stuff. And he allows you to take it as a PDF. You can copy it in Excel, CSV. So if you're someone who loves analytics and wants to dive deeper into that, I highly recommend using this website. You can skip between quarterbacks, defenses, offenses, and team tiers. The visualizations are just nice and easy. You'll see them on Twitter all the time.
But yeah, it's almost like the inverse where you've got Ravens way up there in rush EPA per play. I'm sure part of that is skewed, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, by last week and maybe even really the last couple of weeks. But
no, you are wrong. It's been very high.
Okay, so yeah,
it's been very high.
It would be. I mean, they are clear of pretty much the entire league as far as EPA per play on the rush, just way up there above the rest of these teams. A little bit below average as far as passing efficiency, but they're still kind of right in the mix with a lot of these teams. So they're pretty freaking balanced, if leaning a little bit towards efficiency in the rush. Whereas with the Browns, a little bit above average as far as the rush goes, but kind of right in the meat of it. And then they are way below efficiency wise in the passing game. So it kind of speaks to what you're talking about with them just kind of being boring and being a Big Ten team. I think that really is the perfect comparison there.
Yeah. It's Cooper, it's Watson, it's Kareem Hunt, it's Njoku. Their backs are Jerome Ford's a nice player. I don't mean any disrespect, but there's no wow factor there, really at all. I mean, Njoku can rumble after the catch a little bit. He's occasionally been able to go, high point a ball over a safety, things like that. I just don't see the juice. And now having Conklin and Wills both out and maybe DeJuan Jones out, what does that do to Njoku? Neutralizes him in the pass game. So now you've got James Prochet, Elijah Moore, and I love Elijah Moore. I wish they would utilize him a lot more. David Bell, who's banged up. Cedric Tillman is supposed to take a leap forward in this offense, but has only logged 99 snaps. They got rid of Donovan Peoples-Jones. They've been putting Jordan Akins, the former Texans tight end, in a good bit. I think he had 19 snaps last week. Where's the juice? Where's the juice? We just saw a team that had Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I think Geno Smith, and this could be honestly racist scouting a little bit. If you want to call it that, you absolutely can. Geno Smith and Deshaun Watson, I think, have a lot of similarities to their game. And I know I always try to avoid black quarterback comparisons because I think they're stupid, low-hanging fruit, and it's dumb. I do think this one is appropriate, though. Very similar, the way they like to live, where they like to locate the football. I would say Deshaun Watson's a little more athletic. I would say Smith is a little bit more willing to hang out in the pocket. Actually, a lot more willing to just hang out in the pocket. Both escape sacks well and prevent sacks well. I don't know, man. Just what are the Browns going to do to score 25 points in this game in M&T Bank Stadium, which should be rocking? The bank should be great again. They should have to go silent count. You've got new pieces, young players, injured guys. I don't know. And I don't want to say it, but the last two games is like the Lions and the Seahawks. I was like, I put these pieces together and I didn't predict a blowout. I'm not going to do it again because it's a divisional game. I think they will be more prepared for the Ravens. This game means more to the Browns, like I said, than maybe any game this early in the season of Kevin Stefanski's career. You have to win this game now if you're the Browns.
Yeah, and I mean it is going to be tough. It kind of reminds me, looking at the numbers a little bit and kind of looking at those analytics that we just looked at. It kind of reminds me of last year around this time with the Ravens when Tyler Huntley gets put into the lineup. The Browns are 29th in the league in passing yards. We're not big yards guys, but it's 184 yards passing per game. That's not great. Like I said, 29th, and then 31st as far as third down conversion percentage at 31.7. It's just pretty paltry through the air. And as we all well know here, me and you and everyone listening to this, you need to be better than that in the passing game. I think we definitely had some, defending Greg Roman, don't look at volumetric stats. It doesn't totally account for their efficiency. But
they don't have a dominant run game.
And they're not efficient in the pass game at all. I mean, they're down there at the bottom of the league, like we said. So, barring some kind of pretty miraculous turnaround in the passing game, I think if the Ravens offense, which obviously we'll get to versus their defense, if they can kind of start to build a little bit of a lead here, Browns get into a negative game script and they're chasing. I like the Ravens' chances in Baltimore to close that thing out pretty quickly.
For sure. It just is if the Ravens offense can be efficient at all. And I guess we could just segue into that side of the football. The Browns defense, we already told this tale last time. If you missed it, they run an extremely high clip of cover one, middle of the field close, single high safety. They love man coverage. They are a man coverage team. They like to rush four. They'll blitz a little tiny bit. I believe we saw a metric earlier. I'm going to try and pull up. It was not too long ago at all. Lamar Jackson versus man coverage. First 5 games against man. And the Ravens have had really bad struggles, and probably me being a little tone deaf at times throughout the last year and a half. I just think the principle of it still has always stood. The Ravens have struggled against man coverage in the end of the Greg Roman era, especially when just really those injuries all piled up. 29th in QBR, 9th in completion percentage, 20th in yards per attempt over the first 5 games of the season. Over the last month, Lamar Jackson is 1st in QBR, 2nd in completion percentage, and 5th in yards per attempt. Jeez, I can't talk. Against man coverage. So why is that? Why are they getting better? Because we mentioned Rashad Bateman and Odell Beckham and Nelson Aguilar and Zay Flowers, and I'm going to throw an Isaiah Likely into there, and of course Mark Andrews, have been together on the field for a little while. You're starting to be able to understand the look and the timing and the spacing, and the timing, I would say, is the most important factor there. When a guy's breaking against man coverage, that's when the window is created at the stem of the route. That is when separation happens, like on the ball Odell Beckham fumbled last week, created so much separation, and the ball came out at the top of Lamar Jackson's drop back perfectly as the separation was being created. The ball went to the right location. The receiver went to the right location at the right time. So going through just PFF grades, and again, I'm done beating up PFF. I think they've gotten a little better. They're better than the average, football talker of ESPN or something. Like I like all of their grades and content more than I like pretty much anything that's this global or national. And when you go back and look at the Browns defense, I mean, they just beat up on a really bad Cardinals team, which kind of skews things, but those corners are not grading that well. And Denzel Ward is physical and is technically good. I mean, Martin Emerson, we talked about him a couple years ago. He's a physical player. Greg Newsome limited. They have horrible PFF grades. I don't think those guys have been playing at a crazy high level the last couple weeks. I think they played really well against the 49ers from what I recall. I watched most of that game as well. So, man, if you want to be this top dog defense, pun intended, DAWG, the dog pound, you're going to have to go break the bank, and it's going to be those corners, man. Like, I think the Browns can man up and keep the Ravens to a 4.5 yard per carry kind of day. But can you cover Mark Andrews? Like, he destroys them. We talked about it. He's the mayor of Ohio. He's the mayor of Cleveland, the governor, whatever. Everyone's like, there's no mayor of a state. Well, shut up. Mark Andrews has obliterated them.
Do people like?
It's just, I'm just talking into the.
Are you Rosilloing right now, or do people actually do that to you?
No, that happened to me. At least 2 people said there's no on TikTok comments. I've been trying to get the TikTok up. Follow Exit 52 on TikTok. Got some videos cooking on there. Whatever. The comments on there, I'm just. People.
I made the mistake of saying Todd Monken was like painting like Mozart paintings or somebody, and I got Mozart was a composer. Which, listen,
that was pretty fair.
That's a clean shot, but it is people fucking notice things, and they are not going to be afraid to call you out for it. You know what?
They like are mean about the way you edit stuff on there too. Like I used a CapCut auto freaking edit. Basically, it like created like this like lagging effect that would kind of pulse. And someone was like, if your edit lags, that's when you know it's shit. And I was like, okay, man, sick.
This is like, we're no longer the young guys. I think we're just realizing that in real time. Like
I'm pretty quick with the edits and stuff like that. I can gather. I'm not pulling that card yet. I'm gonna be the old guy who thinks he's cool. Way more.
Sounds like
my assistant is fussing over here over something.
Some commentary going on in the background there, potentially agreeing with me.
Yeah, she is. She's trying to talk smack right now. Anyway, the Browns defense has to man up in the trenches. They can. Like Mo Hurst, Myles Garrett, I think he's the best pass rusher in the NFL. That's a great one. Jake's pulling up. Ravens lead the NFL with 16 red zone rushing touchdowns. Gus Edwards, 7, and Lamar Jackson have been unstoppable near pay dirt. Shelby Harris, they've got the meat. They've got the beef. Shelby Harris, Myles Garrett, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Dalvin Tomlinson, my boy, my absolute boy, my dog, my dog. They've got some beef in there. Jordan Elliott, I like that front, but just Lamar Jackson's just better, man. I mean, their front isn't better against the run necessarily than the Seahawks. Like, Seahawks have big boys in there. They bring Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams had a good day. So did Jaron Reed. And it just still doesn't, like, you can beat the blocks, and then you have to bring down these highly efficient runners as well. So I don't know, man. The Ravens have their number in the red zone. They have for quite some time. They score touchdowns against the Browns. So I'm seeing this being a 3-touchdown day for the Ravens offense and a maybe 2-touchdown day for the Browns offense. Field goals, you know, as they lie, but the Ravens offense is just the best right now. Lamar Jackson, there's no one playing better football at quarterback than Lamar Jackson in the NFL. They're in this homestand. He's having so much fun. And there was a comment on our good friend Glenn Clark's show that Sal Palantonio came on with Glenn and said there's no contract drama. And now you can see he's having fun again. There's no dark cloud, which is what we were complaining about for 2 years. The dark cloud is gone. This wired that the Ravens put out with Lamar Jackson, him jumping up and down. The fan makes a carpet of him. That was so cool. I got to get one of those.
Well, I think the one of one is now in his possession.
Yes, I believe so. And that guy is a little Google Doc. I'll pull up his Instagram. I followed him a minute ago. But that guy's a little Google Doc that you can fill out if you want to get one and go support a local guy doing fun things. He made an Adley Rushman one that was really cool as well. And his Instagram is thereal.1112 Gordon1112 rugs. So go check him out. He's like 20,000 followers. Rugs are sweet, but I digress. They're having fun, and that's scary. Like, when was the last time they really had fun? When they went 14-2. That was the last time they had a lot of fun. And when Lamar Jackson's having fun, I don't think that the Ravens are really a beatable team. Like, at least 8 times out of 10. And I don't know, man. Just the Browns defense hasn't been. What are they going to change? What is going to be the big change that the Browns make suddenly that can finally bottle up Lamar Jackson? I just have never seen it happen. So I'm gonna go with the Nick Saban. The best indicator of future behavior future performance is past behavior. I'm really having a tough verbal night tonight, spitting out all my P's and Q's.
It's that IPA, man. You really are.
That one single IPA I had earlier. So best indicator is what you've shown me in the past. And where's it going to come from? And I saw a Browns fan, a very nice Browns fan, was actually being nice, was like, I don't think the Browns ran that much man coverage the last time they played the Ravens. I think of Lamar Jackson's non-spike or screens or goal-to-go throws, 50% of what the Browns ran was man coverage, which is about what they run. And they did hold Jackson to, I think it was 2 of 5 for 14 yards with 2 sacks, something along those lines. So it did work a little bit, but I think the Ravens are better against man now. And the Browns still couldn't stop them then. I don't know, man. I don't know. The Gus bus is rolling, the wheels in the bus. We'll see if Keaton Mitchell can go. And I like Justice Hill a lot as a player, but is he the worst player that plays in the Ravens roster right now? Like, who actually gets in the game? The fumbles are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen with Edwards, and it didn't happen with Mitchell, and it didn't happen with Kenyon Drake, and it didn't happen with Melvin Gordon. It's out of control. I'm getting pretty pissed off by that. Harbaugh is soft in his old age. He is not the Johnny freaking. He's Johnny Sunshine now. He used to be Johnny Rain Cloud.
Used to be Jack Torrance. Here's Johnny breaking through the door.
That's what he used to be. If you fumbled, you were sitting for 3 weeks if you fumbled that football. And now he's like, that's all right. I don't know. Justice Hill's got to rein it in. They talked about it at the press conference, said it was a spacing issue. And it is. Justice Hill's always so far. Lamar is always reaching his arms like uncomfortably wide for Hill. It's like Hill wants to put his foot in the ground too early and needs to get his little ass in there and trust that his blocks are going to be there. He's not being patient enough with everything. And maybe that'll help him as a runner more. I feel like he's been more patient as a runner, but be a little more patient at the freaking mesh point, man.
John's got some youth pastor vibes going on right now. You know, it's tough that you fumbled that ball, but you really want to make sure you don't fumble your relationship with Jesus Christ.
That's true.
Come over and sit on the bench, and I'll give you some literature that we can go over.
I
think you're going right back in the game because I believe
the thing that makes me go against that though is that I think John Harbaugh is maybe the fakest coach in football to the media. I think any availability he does is not even close to the human being that he is. And I think that specifically because of Marlon Humphrey's victory lives on the plane. And when he tried to bring John on the other week, he was talking. It was like the code switch that the Mario Lopez video that's going around right now. It was like that. He was like, don't fucking put me on there. And it was like, he was like snarling at Marlon. We don't see that ever.
We got our boy Angels and Demons, the Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown. He was on that, whatever Nelk Boy ripoff that was, talking about giving those stories about John just a couple years ago.
Right. Exactly. So the doghouse maybe is soft, but yeah, maybe I'm just lying to myself ultimately. So Justice Hill, man, get it together, please, for the love of God. If you need to he's going to have to get called upon. Mitchell or Edwards will miss time inevitably at some point this season. If
you come over here and you stand next to me while I sit informally, I can tell you all about the love of God and what he can bring to your life, Justice.
Exactly.
We'll figure out those fumbling issues.
He needs to watch The Righteous Gemstones.
Through faith in the Lord. Yeah, no, listen, I need to watch that. I got to catch up.
It is good. It is good. You should watch it.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple episodes in a couple times, just not stayed with it, but I like everyone involved. I'm going to give it another shot. I do. I like what I've seen.
A
lot of shows.
You can get lost quick, but if you do have to stick with it. So it's not the best show ever, but you do have to stick with it.
Okay.
So with that, I mean, prediction wise, I was going to say that it's Isaiah Likely and Rashad Bateman's turn on the touchdown train because Odell finally scored. Then Bateman pops up on the injury report. And I think the Ravens are trying to spread the ball around, are trying to, open things up, get more guys involved and confident. But Bateman questionable maybe with a back. Not questionable yet, but was limited. So we'll see how that plays out. Tough to predict there. But if we get a good to go and like a removal from an injury report, like there's no status, I'm probably going to throw some tutty juice again on Likely and Rashad Bateman. And I don't know. I just don't know. The Ravens special teams has been shored up. They had a rough, rocky start. Tucker missed, a couple kicks from 61 and 59, and they let up that. Yeah, he's washed now.
Are we gonna start a dialogue?
Yeah, exactly. Stout's been banging them. Devin Duvernay looks fine back there. Coverage units have been good. They did let up that punt return touchdown to the Bengals. That was definitely going to throw their efficiency into the trash for a while, and it did. Now their DVOA is coming back up there. So I'm trying to ask the question, how do the Browns win this game? And I think Deshaun Watson is going to have to come into Baltimore while they're white hot and achieve a level of effort that I'm questionable of. Sorry, Quincy Avery, but I'm on Brady Quinn's side. And
in more ways than one.
Yes, exactly.
As am I.
So how is Deshaun Watson? We haven't seen it. It would have to be, like I said in the beginning of the show, it has to be the Deshaun Watson defining Cleveland Browns game. And you're going to have to show me that before I believe it's going to happen.
I think our guy David Mulugeta might be a modern day DB Cooper. I mean, my God, what a fucking heist for that dude.
Yes. The Browns. What did they? Why did you do what you did? And I hope this gets clipped by Browns fans. And the Browns will put up 55 points now. Deshaun Watson will throw 5 touchdowns, and I'll be getting clipped. But it's like, why did you do what you did? The greatest irony of it is that we haven't seen Deshaun Watson play better than Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was playing solid quarterback for the Cleveland Browns last year. Rock solid. And if they didn't shell out all that money, what toys could they have right now? And picks, not to mention. So just This is it. Like, this is it. To me, this is it. If they win this game, they make the playoffs. If they lose this game, they don't make the playoffs. I'll lay down that gauntlet. I believe they do still have a pretty tough schedule, if I'm not mistaken.
Even if they make the play, like, could you imagine Jimmy Haslam hoisting the Lombardi Trophy? I just can't even visualize that in my head. Like, it just like
they have a cupcake schedule. I was wrong.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe
they go Ravens, host the Steelers, to Denver, to LA, host the Jags. So there you go. There's one. They host the Bears, who
W.
Well, the Bears, we'll see.
Justin Fields bias. That's a W.
Okay. That's fine. Texans. That game might determine who makes the wild card or not. Then they host the Jets, who could beat the Browns. I get, like, those are two similar teams. I'll say Browns and Jets are in the same bucket of clawing through the trash in the gutter to try and make the playoffs.
It is all ownership. You got a friend sitting in the room right there with you that knows all about this. You gotta cut it out at the source if you want to move forward.
Then they go to Cincy on January 7th, date TBD. So they'll have 9 wins, 10 wins. They'll be there. They have their schedule. The Rams are, I mean, it looks like Stafford could secretly be done for the year. Like what Carson Wentz.
It's great to have him back.
Yeah, the game really needed that. Quarterback play is
it's not
down.
Good. Yeah, it's not good.
There are not a lot of good quarterbacks, and then everybody's like, well, then why didn't the Falcons pay Lamar Jackson? It's like, because the Ravens were never going to let no one wanted to do their bidding. No one wanted to do their bidding for Lamar Jackson. But whatever, we're off the rails a good bit here. I guess we can go on into predickies unless you have any other thoughts as well.
No, I'm going to go with Ravens win this thing 28-14. Browns do score a couple touchdowns, but Ravens just keep it rolling. Like,
that's pretty clean. That's pretty clean.
It's a little too clean for me.
No. That's like a fresh fade clean. That's like,
yeah, I've got my I got like the lightning bolts going through the side of my head. My beard is like perfectly like faded up on the sideburns. Like, that's what that is.
No, this is just a good rugged fade, like a clean one. It looks good. It looks like it wasn't just cut.
I'm like that's DT when they like photoshopped like the fade and like the AirPods in. Like that's what 28-14.
No, it's no. That's clean. I like that, and I think you'll be closer than I will.
Okay. What do you got?
I'll go. I don't know, man. And I'm going to make a fool of myself maybe for the third time after basically spending 40 minutes here. How the hell are the Browns going to win this game? 22-17 Ravens.
Okay. That's nice and dirty. I like that.
Dirty. The Browns are going to have to dirty this. This could be, I guess, here's my last bold prediction. Maybe the Browns try to provoke the Ravens into like the after the whistle penalty show. That's not a bad strategy in my head. Like, yeah, trying to invoke stress and playing dirty and an ejection and stuff like that. Like, drag the Ravens through the gutter. That's where the Browns are, and that's where they need to bring the Ravens to. That's the way they can win this game. So I'm going to say we see 2+ unnecessary roughness calls, or after the play, whatever you want to call it, flagrant fouls, and 22-17.
I like it. So
I like yours better. Okay.
Listen, we both have a 2-score win here, so you can call that a blowout if you want. I mean, they're covering the spread by that 6.5 number. So,
I didn't have them winning by 2 scores. I have this. I think Vegas has this lined right up.
Oh, did you say 22-17?
22-17.
Okay, I thought you said 7. Sorry. Yeah, maybe my brain is struggling a little bit too. But we'll get into it. I mean, this to me, like, this feels like kind of a appetizer.
I would also like to say we were gonna have Corey Kinnan on this show, but his lady went to labor.
Shout out to I think the baby came happy and healthy, right?
Baby came happy and healthy. He posted a picture, and I can't remember exactly. I'm trying to find his Twitter right now. He posted a picture, had a funny little caption about it. I can't find his Twitter right this second, but mazel tov to you, Corey. Congratulations. Would love to have you on the show. I'll send him this little clip, but congratulations to you and your family, and hoping for happy health there. Usually our Browns guy, we had him on earlier this year. So if you do follow Corey, which you should, at the fake Corey Kinnan, I think is his Twitter.
Yeah. Very cheeky.
Fake Corey Kinnan. Go wish him or go congratulate him on welcoming a little one into the world. So with that, I guess we can get the hell out of here, my friend.
As always, thank you guys for listening to yet another preview show. I should be in there for the incident analysis on this coming Sunday. I will be unfortunately out probably for both Jumbo Set and preview, review, all that stuff for the Thursday night game. So I'll be there for the appetizer. We're going to have to see what happens with the main game, but looking forward to what's going to be a fun week, I think, and a fun weekend here with this Browns game coming up. Hope everybody is ready to enjoy it. Hope everybody's ready to get out to that tailgate, but we'll discuss more of that in due time. In the meantime, you can follow us on social media. I am at Jake Louque. That is Louque. Spencer is at Ravens4Dummies. That is the number 4. It's at X52 Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow it there. Follow the other schmucks at Barstool Banks, at Taylor Smythe 10, at EDITTI 22. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment. Get the engagement rolling in. Really appreciate all the support there as we've continued to try and grow that. It's been a fun time. Hopefully that fun continues this Sunday, and I guess we'll talk to you then. In the meantime,
see ya.
Arrivederci.